Welcome to the first episode of The View Within. The whole idea behind this is to give you as much of a chance as possible to be able to proficiently open mortise locks and to give you an understanding of where things can go wrong and how to put them right. And this very first episode has to start with the importance of making sure that your pick wire is in the right place at the right time within the lock. I can't stress this skill enough. It's always important to know where you are within the lock, and there are various ways of working out how to do that. But let me show you where it can all go wrong. So this particular lock you're looking at now, you're looking at the lever bellies of a Union strong bolts lock, and within here I've got the pick wire. It's a long length pick wire, it's not a short one, and you can see that I've got clear access to all of the lever bellies within this lock, backwards and forwards, so from the front to the back. On this side here, this is the curtain, and on this side is the cap of the lock, or the front of the lock if you like. So I'm going to be referring to the lever nearest the cap as 1 and the lever furthest away as 5. There are other ways of naming them. That's the way that I will be naming them in this series of videos I'm going to produce. So whenever you're picking and you put the wire inside the lock, always check that you've got full access to the lever back from front to back. So just run your wire from the front to the back, just to make sure that you've got full access. And when I say it's important to know where you are, when you're picking and feeling the feedback on the levers, it's always a good idea to know exactly which lever you're going to be underneath. So whether you're underneath lever 5, whether you're underneath lever 3, or whether you're trying to get underneath lever 1, these are all important aspects of being inside a lock. Now, if you look at this wire, you can see that the wire is about the same width, maybe slightly bigger than the lever, but some lever locks, they're really sloppy inside, so there's quite a lot of space between the levers. So if you were to, for example, put your lever in and wiggle it around, it is entirely possible for you to be able to jam that lever up between jam the wire up between two levers. And I'm not sure, I'm not making a very good job of demonstrating this, but you can see if I compress that pag and then put the wire up, you can see that it's actually disappeared between lever 4 and 5. It feels awful. There's no feedback, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know if you're lifting a lever, what's going on, your pick wire is getting stuck. So it's quite easy when you're navigating your way through. As you can see there, for example, I'm now stuck between lever 3 and 4. This doesn't happen in all mortise locks, but in some of the ones that are made, shall we say, to slightly lesser standards, it's entirely possible that you're going to be getting your pick wire stuck. So to stop that from happening, it's always a good idea to know where you are underneath the levers, so that when you're picking, you are definitely feeling yourself on a lever and not in between. The difference is there, that feels like it's being gripped, nothing's happening, there's no feedback. Whereas here, of course, you can feel that the lever is being lifted, and you're getting lots of feedback from the lever, from the spring on the lever. The other thing to note is that in a lot of locks, if you push the wire right the way to the back and then start to try and pick, sometimes it can get trapped between the curtain. I don't think I can do it on this one. Sometimes it can get trapped between the curtain and the back of lever 5. So there we go, I've just done it. So that there makes you wonder what on earth is going on, because again, you lose all feedback and you realise that you're not actually picking the lock anymore. You're actually picking the space between the levers. So always try and practice the skill set that tells you that you are always going to be underneath the correct lever when you're lifting. Now, I can't stress enough the importance of having a decent wire. So the wires that you possess, if you can imagine, if the wire is bent and it's sticking out like this, you can see that you're never going to get underneath lever 1. And when you're trying to, say, lift lever 2 or lever 3, you can see that you're actually interfering with the other levers as well, and you're not getting a very good experience of feedback. So try your best to keep your pick wire square, and also check that the end of the wire is square to the to your tension tool. So when you are picking, always make sure that you're underneath the lever that you want to. This is a skill that will come with plenty of practice. You just need to practice over and over again, feeling your way through the lock. In a minute I'm going to show you the outside of the lock and an alternative way of knowing where you are at any time. So for example, now let's pick this lock, and we'll get the wire exactly underneath. So I'm going to pick, there's lever 5, I've lifted lever 5 up and it's just dropped into a gate there. And if you look, you can actually see the lever bouncing up and down. You might even be able to hear it in its gate. If I position the wire now accurately underneath lever 4, I can lift that up until I feel it drop into its gate. And then lever 3. Again, there we go. So the first 3 levers are essentially set and they're all in the right place. Lever 2 is almost in its gate. And then lever 1. And you can see that lever 1 now is actually not binding at all, because something in this lock has been overlifted. Let's just try lever 2. I think lever 2 has actually been overlifted. Let's try lever 1. There we go. Okay, so it wasn't, so the lock is open. So with accurate placement, you can see that I'm able to get my pick wire underneath exactly the lever that I want it to be underneath and lift up and open. There was no ambiguity there. There was no getting the wire stuck between a couple of levers and getting a horrible mushy feeling. Getting the wire stuck, as you can see, between lever 5 and the curtain. It's always important to have a really good grasp of where you are within the lock, and also to make sure that your wire is able to reach, for example, lever 1, because it's square. If the wire was slightly bent, I would never stand a chance of getting underneath that lever. It's a bit borderline as it is, but there you go. So that's the first look within, and the importance of always knowing where you are within the lock and which lever you're lifting, and not lifting 2 levers at once. So this is probably one of the hardest skills, I think, to learn, and one of the critical skills to learn to be able to conquer opening these locks.